2 hours ago, standing at a Saudi-backed investor summit in Miami Beach on day 28 of the Iran war, Donald Trump said the 5 words that immediately went everywhere. They have to open up the Strait of Trump. I mean, Hormuz. The room laughed. Trump feigned apology. "Excuse me, I'm so sorry, such a terrible mistake." Then came the part that is not a joke at all. The fake news will say, "He accidentally said, no, there's no accidents with me, not too many." In 9 seconds of audio, Trump managed to simultaneously rename one of the world's most strategically important waterways after himself, deny that it was accidental, claim it was intentional, warn the media they would misreport it, and deliver the entire sequence with the timing of a practiced comedian. The clip was shared millions of times within hours. It trended globally. It was played on every major broadcast network. It became the most watched moment of the entire 28-day war, more than any strike footage, more than any diplomatic statement, more than any market crash. And embedded in it, if you listen past the laughter, is the most revealing thing Trump has said about this war since it began. The man running a conflict that has killed more than 1,900 people in Iran, displaced millions, and shut down 20% of global oil supply is still primarily thinking about his name on things. Why this wasn't a slip, and why that makes it more important. The context in which the moment occurred matters because it was not an offhand slip in a casual interview. It was a prepared speech at the Future Investment Initiative, a high-profile summit sponsored by Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, one of the most consequential financial audiences on the planet, representing hundreds of billions of dollars in sovereign capital. Trump was there to reassure investors that the war is going well, that Iran is being crushed, and that a deal is coming. He was playing the role of a wartime leader, projecting confidence and control. The room contained Saudi royals, sovereign fund managers, international finance executives, and the kind of institutional capital that can either flee a conflict or bet on its resolution. In that context, the Strait of Trump moment was not a lapse, it was a performance. Trump knew what he was doing, said he knew what he was doing, and then weaponized the meta-commentary on the moment to make the media coverage of the slip itself part of the message. The Daily Beast reported that Trump has privately floated, renaming the Strait of Hormuz the Strait of America, or after himself, if the U.S. succeeds in reopening it. The New York Post reported the same. A former administration official told the Daily Beast the renaming idea is getting tiresome and tacky and risks tarnishing his legacy ahead of the fall midterms. But the clip had already gone everywhere before the criticism arrived. This is the specific mechanism Trump has refined across 3 decades of media manipulation. Say something outrageous enough to dominate coverage, deny intent in a way that confirms intent, and then let the meta-story, everyone talking about whether it was a joke, consume all the oxygen that would otherwise go to substantive critique. What the comedy conceals. The strait is still closed, but here is what the Strait of Trump moment actually revealed, beneath the performance and the virality. The Strait of Hormuz has been effectively closed since March 2nd. Iran's IRGC Navy turned back 3 container ships, including 2 Chinese-owned COSCO vessels, on the same day Trump called it the Strait of Trump. The IRGC issued a statement saying the waterway was closed to traffic linked to its enemies. Iran's parliament is preparing legislation to formalize toll collection from vessels transiting the strait, treating it as sovereign Iranian territory. Trump, the same day, extended his deadline for Iran to open the strait by 10 more days to April 6th. He called it, as per Iranian government request. Iran denied making any such request. The 10-day extension followed the 5-day pause that followed the 48-hour ultimatum, that followed the claim of winding down the war, that followed the claim. The war was very complete. The strait is still closed. Gas prices in the United States have risen $1.01 in 1 month. The IEA has called it the worst energy crisis since the 1970s. And the President of the United States, speaking at a Saudi-backed investor forum in Miami Beach, referred to it as the Strait of Trump. Secretary Rubio, speaking to reporters after G7 foreign minister meetings in France on the same day, said the U.S. expects the war to conclude in weeks, not months. He did not say which weeks. He did not specify which month those weeks fall within. The Strait of Trump, as it will now be permanently referred to in the clip libraries of every media organization on Earth, is still closed. Cuba is next, by the way, Trump also told the Miami crowd, but pretend I didn't say that. Pretend I didn't. What naming rights actually mean, and why Iran's position makes it not funny. The strategic question embedded in the comedy is not trivial. What does it mean when a president publicly signals, even jokingly, that he considers a critical international waterway a potential naming opportunity? Renaming geographic features is a declaration of sovereignty. Trump renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America by executive order earlier this year. He has repeatedly discussed acquiring Greenland. And he has floated making Canada the 51st state. The pattern is consistent. Territorial and geographic assertions delivered first as jokes, then as policies, then as accomplished facts. Iran's 5 conditions for ending the war explicitly include recognition of its sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian parliament is legislating tolls. The IRGC Navy is physically enforcing closure. Iran is treating the strait as Iranian sovereign territory, operationally and legally. Trump is calling it the Strait of Trump. Those two positions, Iranian sovereignty versus Trumpian naming rights, describe a gap that is not closable through the 15-point plan that Pakistan is currently shuttling between Washington and Tehran. The plan calls for Iran to abandon nuclear weapons, and Iran's counteroffer calls for recognition of its sovereignty over the water through which 20% of global oil flows. Neither side has shown any indication of moving to the other's position. Meanwhile, the clip plays. The room laughs. The world watches a president joke about naming a closed waterway after himself, while 1,900 people have been killed in the country that closed it, while 15 American soldiers were wounded the same day at a Saudi airbase, while the 82nd Airborne is en route, while markets swing $30 a barrel on Truth Social posts. "There's no accidents with me," he said. The line is funny. It is also, in the context of everything that has happened in 28 days, the most important sentence he has spoken since the bombs began falling on February 28th. Because if there are no accidents, if everything is intentional, then everything that has followed the war's beginning was intentional too. The broken diplomacy, the timing, the escalation, the jokes, the Strait of Trump.